You ready?
Just logging into the internet.
Okay. So first announcement while Kevin's getting ready. I tell you guys that my, half of my job is being an author, and like 1/6 of my job is this class, more or less. The author side of my job, I have an opportunity for you guys to be authors as well, if you'd like to be. There's a journal of student research that is requesting submissions for an edition that they're doing later this year. I believe November is the deadline, but let me pull it up here. I put it on Blackboard for you all. Okay, senior seminar. Content. And down here under other materials, it says call for papers, flyer 2016. If you open that up, this gives you, November 30th is the deadline. So it's called the Undergraduate Business and Economics Research Journal. If any of you are interested in a career in academia later on, even if you're just considering it, if you think you might want to be a professor someday, this is a great opportunity to help your eventual application for a PhD program. If you have a publication to your name before you even apply for a PhD program, it's going to put you ahead of the pack in a big way. And it also looks good even if you go into another field. It kind of gives you a certain amount of street credibility, and you seem like an expert if you have a published article somewhere. So I encourage any of you who are interested, email me. I'm happy to cooperate with you on the article, but the deadline is November 30th, and all the information is there on Blackboard. Any questions? Okay. Kevin is here to tell you a few things about my college Republicans and activities they have going on. So take it away, Kevin.
Yeah, how y'all doing today? Professor Woods was kind enough to come and let me speak to you guys. So yeah, my name is Kevin Reed. I work for a local political consulting firm. It's Western Pacific Research. I also work in part for the Kern County Republican Party and am involved with college Republicans. So have a few different opportunities for you all. Currently, Kern County Republican Party, we're supporting 15 different campaigns. So I'm here to offer you guys internships. It's a very unique opportunity. You would gain invaluable experience. I mean, we have internships, everything from Congress to state assembly to city council to mayor to school board. So there's tons of opportunities there. So a little bit about myself. Just last year, I recently got involved in politics. My grandma was actually on the city council, Jackie Sullivan. She's the longest serving city council member in Bakersfield history. But up until about a year ago, I never was politically inclined, never got involved. But I jumped into it. I got opportunity presented before me, and I took it. But I mean, just the types of places this field can take you, it's really incredible. I mean, I've had the opportunity. I got the opportunity to work on Ted Cruz's campaign. Here just last weekend, we went up to Hanford, and we were helping Congressman David Valadao, helping him make sure that he kept his congressional seat. So. I have some sign-up sheets here, but if you guys want to get involved in politics, you want a great resume piece, this is definitely a fantastic opportunity. So furthermore, here on campus we have the College Republican chapter. We're definitely, it's a great way to get hooked up with these sort of opportunities, these internships. So I encourage you all to sign up. And in 2 weeks, on September 30th through October 2nd, we actually are going up to Valencia, and we will be campaigning for 3 different candidates. This particular region that we're going to, it's the only place in the state where you have overlapping regions of Congress, state assembly, and state senate that are occupied by Republicans. So it'll be Congressman Steve Knight will be campaigning for, Assemblyman Tom Lackey, and additionally Assemblyman Scott Wilt that is running for the state senate. So I encourage you guys to consider going. It's a fun time. It's really where the rubber meets the road for the college Republicans. We have boots on the ground in the day, and then in the nighttime, there's definitely a lot of fun that goes on, a lot of drinking, alcohol. It's definitely a very fun time. I encourage you all to go. And great thing about it, hotels are paid for, gas cards are provided, and all the meals are paid for. So it's really an expense-free trip. And if you guys have problems with finding transportation up there, we can coordinate that carpool. But yeah, I'm gonna send around a sign-up sheet and additionally a small flyer with some more information. It's got the time and date for our next meeting, which is going to be October 10th. But yeah, I just encourage you guys to get involved with the College Republicans. It's definitely a cool opportunity. Just yesterday we had Assemblywoman Shannon Grove that came and met with us. We had lunch with her, and yeah, she talked to us. So it's a fantastic thing, and I definitely encourage you guys to consider doing one of these internships. We're looking primarily with this is a business marketing class, so people with marketing skills, people with experience with graphic design, people that are good writers. So it's definitely a fantastic resume piece, and you probably can go nowhere else and have the opportunity to work on 15 different campaigns at once. So I'm going to send around the sign-up sheet and flyers for whoever is interested.
Cool.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Any questions?
What's
Yes.
the time frame?
Stephanie.
What dates are you
For the internships? Well, the election is November 8th, so we're getting down to the wire. We have 48 days until the election, so it's something that would be in the immediate future. And there'll be internships moving beyond that as well, internship opportunities. Any other questions? Oh, all right, guys, thanks. So yeah, I got my number listed on here in addition to my email. Feel free to.
So are these sign-up cards here?
It's just informational. I have a sign-up sheet as well. So.
You want me to give that back to you later?
That works. Okay. Yeah, that works.
Actually, here, you give me half. I'll pass that half on to the side.
It helps. Definitely helps. And if you're not a Republican, we'll turn you into one.
No, you don't have to be, because I'm not one, and I'm their advisor.
Yes. Yeah, it was really funny. We had like a mock presidential debate in the primary, and we had representatives from each one of the presidential campaigns. And this Professor Woods was actually our Hillary Clinton representative, so it was really funny.
Go Hillary!
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting dynamic.
I'm not helping them on the presidential election, but the local elections, we're getting a Republican elected. That's all there is to it.
15 of them.
So I get to keep this?
Yeah.
Awesome.
No, I was a former vice president. I'm now on the state board. So,
Okay,
no longer on board.
Kevin, do you want to stop by my office later today to pick this up?
Sure. Yeah, that definitely works.
I can take a picture of it and sign it and send it to you on text too if you want, whatever's easier. Today is the 22nd, right? Yeah, actually, I encourage you, regardless of whether you're Republicans or not, especially to get involved with the Western political research opportunity.
Yeah,
it's an awesome opportunity to be involved in grassroots polling, and there's Republican, Democrat. We're all citizens of the planet Earth, let alone like most of us of the United States and of the state of California. There's way too little cooperation between blue and red these days. So I think anybody, especially that internship opportunity, you'll have fun drinking with the Republicans too. That is definitely about getting people elected.
Yeah.
getting Republicans elected. But the Western political research opportunity really, although the polling is about Republican candidates, it's a great opportunity to get your feet wet with political polling, and that political polling is apolitical. They will do polling for whoever pays.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity no matter what your political bent, and
Yeah.
these are nice Republicans. I can vouch for them.
Yeah, I mean, the company I work for, Western Pacific Research, over the last 30 years, we've ran over 400 campaigns. We have a 97% win rate. My boss was actually the one that recruited Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Really?
That you would be interning in that's where he made the decision to run for
That's
governor.
cool.
And my boss wrote the recalled Dave, Gray Davis. So
That's not so cool, but
yeah.
the Governator was pretty fun when we had him.
Yeah, I mean, aren't you all glad we found him? I mean, yeah,
He's a unique California treasure and an Austrian treasure. Yeah, Kevin, I'm gonna. I handed that back, right? The sign-up sheet. Cool. If you wanna, like come by my office later, it's BDC 136. I can give you the sheet.
Okay, and then yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good.
Okay, so review session. I don't know why my screen is not working all of a sudden. Let's see if that makes it.
And you guys all have my cell phone number, so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out.
Sounds good. Take care.
Did anybody stand up and like touch this thing?
It went out.
Really? Well, I'll start talking, and we'll see if the screen comes back on. Otherwise, I'll just use the whiteboard. So, review session. Let me tell you guys the topic areas that are going to be on the exam next week. So, there's a question about LinkedIn. So, I encourage you to go back and watch that webinar. Or the podcast of the class session. There's going to be questions about business model. In particular, what is the exact information that goes in each of the three boxes? Okay. There's going to be questions on. There's going to be several questions on the handbrake model, the elements of that, so forth and so on. There's going to be a lot of questions on vision, mission, and goals. So make sure to go back, review my PowerPoint slides, as well as your textbook chapters on that. There's going to be several questions on key success factors. So go back and take a look at those slides and that part of your textbook. A lot of questions about SWOT or TOES analysis. There'll be several questions on Porter's 5 forces, both how it functions as an overall snapshot of the industry, as well as what the individual elements are. So buyer power, supplier power, threat of new entrants, threat of substitutes, and rivalry between firms. So make sure you know that stuff. There'll be several questions on driving forces, including if I could get the projector. Oh, look, the little thingy's back on. I think it's going to come on now. Including several elements of what's sometimes called DG pest analysis. It's there's a couple of lists in the slides that I gave you of geographic factors, demographic factors, socioeconomic factors, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Those sort of subcomponents of driving forces will be part of the exam too. And if I can ever get the projector to warm up and project, then I can show you where that is in the slides. There's going to be some questions on competencies, core competencies versus distinctive competencies. There's going to be a few questions about resources and the resource-based view of the firm. I'll give you a couple general tips on things after I went through I went through the exam and looked at it and thought about what might not have been clear to you guys in my lectures. So, first of all, overall, it's going to be 50 multiple choice questions. About 30 of those questions, more or less, are just simple multiple choice questions. The last 20, you're going to read a couple of paragraphs of a case that you need to analyze, and then you're going to answer multiple choice questions about that case. So there's 3 cases for the last 20 questions, and then the first 20 questions are just regular multiple choice questions, and no essays, anything like that. You're just filling out a Scantron sheet for 50 multiple choice questions. Couple things. Yes, Christian.
Just a thought, you could still go through the slides on your computer, because then you can look at the video after class.
Oh yeah, good point. Good point. Although it's kind of ridiculous that this thing isn't working right now. Let me try to turn it off and turn it back on one more time, because I can see the light in the camera now. That wasn't on before. It should be shining, but for some reason it's not. What's that? Oh, okay. Yes. So I will do that as a backup. Jose, yes.
Do we need to bring a Scantron?
No, I'll bring the Scantrons. I'll bring the Scantrons. Yes.
What was the first one?
Erica, right?
Yeah. What was the first thing you said before Hambrick model?
Before what?
Hambrick model?
Before Hambrick, I said business model, and there's also a question about LinkedIn in there. Okay, so a couple things that may not have been clear about the way I taught the slides before. Strategies generally tend to be on a 5 to 10 year horizon, not shorter and not longer. Objectives, so vision, mission, objectives. Objectives are particularly valuable for internal employees for the goals that they strive for in the organization. And then finally, there's the concept of strategic groups, which I didn't really cover in my lectures too much, but strategic groups are pretty much just like the price quality rating groups that you're competing with in Globus. So they tend to be businesses that follow a very similar strategy and occupy a similar place in the market to you. So that's what a strategic group is, and I don't think I covered that very well. There's a question on that on the exam. That's the main stuff. I will. I've been dying to. Dying. Surprise. Too strong a word. I have been looking forward to using this whiteboard more and being a little more interactive. So I guess this is a good opportunity. I will pull up the slides. They'll be in the podcast, but you can't see them right now. Okay, so Hambrick model. No, actually, LinkedIn, first of all. And I brought brand new dry erase markers for this. So hopefully they will show up really well. First of all, LinkedIn. The main things that we covered on LinkedIn, just to remind you, were first of all the concept of first, second, third degree contacts and how you can be connected to other people through a series of connections. So that's something important to remember. Important to remember accomplishments versus just duties. So accomplishments have numbers and a concrete task that was completed as part of them, rather than just the general responsibilities that you have in your job. And then finally, academic deliverables or projects. The project, your case analysis project, your Globus work that you do in this class, even the exams in this class. You know, the first exam, you could put that down on your resume as, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 major concepts, participated in a 50-question exam covering 10 major concepts of business strategy, including LinkedIn, business model, key success factors, SWOT, whatever you want to list. I wouldn't list all 10 because it's supposed to be such as rather than all of them. But pick a couple, cherry pick, add those in. You could say, participated in a 50-question multiple choice exam covering 10 major concepts of business strategy, including SWOT, resource-based view of the firm, and LinkedIn, period. Achieved a score of 80%, period. So that sounds a lot better than got an A in the class. That sounds a lot more specific. It gives more value-added information to employers. So the concept of academic deliverables is also important to remember. That's about it for LinkedIn. As far as business model is concerned, now I'm going to go ahead and pull things up on this screen so they're at least in the podcast. So while that's pulling up, the important thing to remember about business model is that you've got three major areas: the value proposition, the profit model, and resources needed. And it's a chart, looks like this, as you probably remember. And what I really want you to remember, or be prepared to talk about for the exam. Yes, Stephanie. The light on? I think. I don't really know, because like this one turns off, that one turns off. I don't know how to turn that on. It might just be out. They might just be out. Sorry. Let me try and use at least a different color so you can see it better. So the important thing to remember here is in the first box, I want the value proposition from the customer's perspective. The important thing here in the second box is that I want this described in three sections: revenues, variable costs, fixed costs. Okay? And the important thing down here is that you're cherry picking from these to list the most important resources, as it lists the most important costs, but phrase it as a resource. Okay, that's the important thing to remember about business model. Now the PowerPoint is finally ready to open here, so I will click open and then wait for a while longer. I suppose I could. You know what I could try to do? I could try to record video of me writing on the screen. I just got to turn on the video camera here. No, looks like I can't get that to turn on right now. Okay, so much for that. Okay, so you can't see this, but I'm putting into the webinar podcast for you that I'm pulling up the business model section of the slides here. So, yeah, like I said, important to remember, value proposition is from the customer's point of view, and profit model needs to be broken up into 3 elements: revenues, variable costs, and fixed costs. I believe next was the handbrake model. Yes. So, important to remember about the handbrake model is what it is composed of. So that's arena, differentiators, vehicles, and staging, and then economic logic in the middle. So if you remember, it looks like a diamond with a circle in the middle. So we've got arenas, differentiators, vehicles, staging, and economic logic. Looks like that. And each of those have details to them. So arenas, for example, where will we be active? Which product categories, which market segments, etc. I'm going through these slides right now on your web podcast. Differentiators. How will we win? How will we be different than the competition? Vehicles. How will we get there? Will it be a joint venture? Will it be internal development? What organizational form will it take? Staging. What will be the speed and consequence or sequence of moves? Will you start a new product first and then start a new division? Start a new division, then a new product? Start a new division, then go into an international market, or do you have a joint venture with an international market and then later on you start your own company? It's about the timing of the stages. And then economic logic, are you low cost? Are you differentiation? How do you plan to make money from these 4 strategic pieces? So that's pretty much the handbrake model in a nutshell. Next. Any questions so far?
Will we pull any stuff out of the book? Or
What's that?
So will we be pulling any stuff out of the book? Or is it
Yeah, it's a combination. I mean, again, most of it's out of the class slides. Most of it's out of the slides and the webinars. However, like I said, you guys can share the cost of a textbook because they're really expensive. I would recommend taking a look in particular at mission, vision, goals, key success factors, SWOT, Porter's 5 forces, driving forces in the textbook. Okay?
Could you mention those one more time?
Yes. Mission, vision, goals, key success factors, SWOT, or TOES analysis, Porter's 5 forces, driving forces, and then core versus distinct competencies, and resource-based strategies. Those are the areas of the textbook you should take a look at. Going through the slides some more, I just talked about the handbrake model, which is not in the book. What is in the book, like I just said, mission, vision, goals. Important to remember in particular, vision is where are we going? What does the organization want to look like long term? Mission is pretty much who are we and what do we do? Okay? In a nutshell. And then objectives should be SMART. The key thing to remember, specific, measurable, appropriate, realistic, and time sensitive or timely. So goals, objectives should have a concrete detail like we're going to achieve the 2nd place in our market, or we are going to achieve $5 million in revenues. It should have a number attached to it. It should have a date by the end of fiscal year 2017. or by October 30th, 2017. It should be realistic. So, we are going to make billions and billions of dollars. If you're currently a $500 million company and you set a goal of reaching $10 billion by the end of the fiscal year, not really achievable or realistic. So those are the important things to remember about goals. They are specific, they are concrete, they are measurable, and they are time sensitive. They have a date attached to them. Mission is sort of intermediate. It's not as broad as vision, but it's basically a statement about who we are and what we do as a company. And vision is the biggest picture level, and that's broad. Where do we want to go as an organization in the future, in the long term? So that's mission, vision, goals. Key success factors. That is in the next set of slides. So you can't see this, but I'm closing the introduction PowerPoint, and I'm opening up the next PowerPoint. But while I'm doing that, I'll use the whiteboard again here. And I will not use that red marker because it's not showing up very well. Let's see how green works. The most important thing to remember about key success factors is that they are valid for all businesses in the industry. Key success factors are things that you must be able to do as a company in order to be competitive in your industry and not become permanently lagging behind the rest of the competition. So these are things like, in the agricultural sector, having access to water. If you don't have access to cheap water, especially here in California, water rights are very complex, and sometimes water costs more than other times. So having access to affordable water is a key success factor for agriculture. A key success factor for real estate is having attractive properties to represent. Also having very skilled sales and marketing staff. I mean, selling is a big part of turning around homes, is just having top quality salespeople. So these are things that you must have in order to be competitive in a certain industry. And we are just really not having much luck with the timing of opening things here on Blackboard. Now it's going a little bit better. So that's the key thing to remember about key success factors. Actually, that's going to be under internal. So let me open up another set of slides here. Any questions while I'm fiddling with Blackboard here? That's funny. Where are the key success factors? There we go. So, competitive elements most affecting every industry member's ability to prosper. The other thing that's important to remember here is types of key success factors. There's going to be several questions on the exam about technology related versus manufacturing related versus distribution, marketing, skills related, organizational related, or other related. So those categories of key success factors are important to know. That's about it for key success factors. For SWOT analysis, pretty straightforward on the SWOT analysis. It's basically although in your case analysis, I want you to talk about strategies that you recommend for the firm. In the exam, it's basically asking you just to articulate especially in the cases that you read. In the cases that you read, it's asking you to articulate what is a strength, what is a weakness, what is a threat, what is an opportunity after you've read these couple paragraphs of the case. So just remember in your case, what's really important to me is the strategies that you recommend here. In the exam, it's basically just asking you to list what goes here. Make sense? Okay. Porter's 5 forces. So let me go back to external for that. And the important thing to remember about Porter's 5 forces, first of all, it's a snapshot overall of the industry. Driving forces are the factors that are going to change the industry 3 to 5 years in the future. Porter's 5 forces is what the industry looks like right now. It may change in the future because of those driving forces of change, but Porter's 5 forces is a snapshot in time. And those 5 forces, again, are buyer power, supplier power, threat of new entrants, threat of substitutes, and rivalry. And you should, in particular, look in your textbook. I did not cover it as well I didn't cover as much in the lectures as I could have based on what's in the exam. But there's a couple questions in there about barriers to entry. So barriers to entry could be economies of scale. They could be strong customer loyalty. There's a number of other types of barriers to entry that are covered in your textbook better than I covered them in the lectures. So make sure to review types of barriers to entry. Okay, and then know what each of the forces are. So, long story short, buyer power. If there's a lot of buyers, no single one of them has very much power unless switching costs are very low, in which case buyer power is higher because it's not very expensive, doesn't take very much time, doesn't take very much effort to switch between one provider and another provider. Otherwise, if you have a lot of customers, or if you have a lot of buyers, buyer power is low. If you have a few buyers, buyer power is high. Same thing with supplier power. If there's a lot of suppliers, supplier power is low. If there's only a few suppliers, supplier power is high. Threat of new entrants, I just talked about. Threat of substitutes. The thing to remember about substitutes is it's a different product that could satisfy the same desire. So, a salad is a substitute product for McDonald's. Coke is a direct competitor product of Pepsi. So it's not a substitute, it's also a soda. But having a water or a juice instead of a soda, that would be a substitute product. Okay? Important to remember that substitutes are other types of products, not competitive products. And then rivalry, the important thing to remember is A, how many competitors are there? If there's lots of competitors, rivalry tends to be really high. If there's only a few competitors, rivalry tends to be low. Except if those small number of competitors are very devoted to competing with each other. So I gave you guys in the lecture the example of Microsoft and Google. There's really only 2 players in the search engine market, and the 2 of them could easily just say, hey, Microsoft's got 20%, Google's got 80%, we're not going to compete with each other, we're going to be happy to make the money that we make. But they hate each other, so they continually try to cut the other one down, even though they don't have to because there's only 2 competitors. So 1, how many competitors are there? 2, how dedicated are they to competing with each other? So that's what you need to know about Porter's 5 forces. Driving forces, like I said, are things that are going to change the industry within 1 to 3, maximum 5 years. And it's only a few factors. It's 3 to 4 to 5, not 10 or 20. And an important thing to think about is, you can't see it right now, but I'm pulling it up on the screen so you can see it in the webinar. Driving forces can be economic, physical, sociocultural, global, technological, political or legal, and demographic. So there's a couple slides in your Blackboard PowerPoint decks that go over the different types of driving forces. I would review those before the exam. Competencies, core versus distinctive. So let me come back here. So the important thing to remember about competencies is a competence is something that an organization is proficient at doing internally. A core competence is something that the organization is proficient at doing internally and is central to their business. A distinctive competence is something a business is competent at doing, is core to their business, and they are better at doing it than any of their rivals or competitors. That's the difference between those three things. It'll be important to know for the exam. Bless you. And then finally, resource-based view questions. It's important to remember this concept of valuable, rare, hard to imitate, and is the company well organized to take advantage of these resources. And it's also important to remember, in general, that resources are related to core competencies, which are related to key success factors, okay? Which all relates back to the resources needed in the business model. That pretty much covers what we needed to cover for the exam. There'll be 2 more exams over the course of the semester that cover the rest of the stuffs that we have gone over in class, but that's pretty much what we needed to cover for the exam. Do you guys have any other questions that I didn't go over? Okay. The other thing I was going to offer to do today is talk about Globus. I know groups A and B, I think, prefer to get individualized advice from me rather than having it up on the screen. And actually, the screen doesn't work right now anyway, so even if I did want to put stuff up on the screen, I can't. Is anybody going to be terribly upset if we get done with class early today? Are you sure? I don't want to shortchange you on your educational value. Okay, then let's call it a day and have a good weekend. I'll see you guys next Tuesday.